Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Color X Malice Unlimited, and we are in Shadaishi's route still. Yay! I think we just hit Chapter 2, actually, so here we are, starting Chapter 2. Although the police had widened their manhunt, a night passed without any positive developments. I'd reported the letter that arrived at Unagi's office yesterday, and news of the message had made its way throughout the police department. I could still sense that people were suspicious of me, but there was no point in dwelling on it. If the sender of the letter is the same as the escapee, it should be easy to gather information. I continued to review the reports that had been circulated regarding the escapee. His name is Shu Kurose? Yeah. Kurose. Estimated age 27. No information on his role as an Adonis agent yet. He and the other captured agents had remained silent under interrogation, so little else was known. Little else about him was known. Sorry, I read that right. If I could at least learn more about who he is as a person... All points bulletin. SRCPO calling all officers. Homicide reported at the Shinjuku train station hotel. Articles similar to those found at previous X-Day incidents have been reported. All Shinjuku station personnel are to check in at their terminals and take their assigned posts immediately. An X-Day attack? While the station burst into a frenzy, I recalled the contents of the letter from yesterday. Does this mean that the countdown has started? A short while later, Mochida called out to me.
Knowing you, you probably read up on the case already.
You're probably read up on the case already. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yes. According to the information that was shared with us, the victim was a politician, Mamoru Togo. He was scheduled to give a speech by the train station yesterday. However, his staff had lost contact with him this morning, and hotel employees had unlocked his room to discover his body pierced through the heart. That was the story.
A coin with the Roman numeral 9 was found at the scene.
Yes, but if it was the same as past incidents, then the victim would be some type of criminal.
Shit, girl, sweetie, honey, baby, I'm gonna need you to back it up. What? He's a politician.
So, there you go. He would be some sort of... Never mind, he's a politician, so most likely he's probably done something shady. I'm just saying. If you ever meet a politician who has never done anything fucking shady, that's fucking impressive. 'Cause... like... Look, we've all done something shady in our lives, whether it be you stole a candy bar or you lied to someone. I mean... like, we've all done bad things, but, like, politicians most likely have done things that are far worse. All I'm saying. Just throwing that out there. Anyway. Is there anything dirty in Togo's past that wasn't made public?
No. As of this moment, nothing of that sort has been uncovered about him.
Yeah, again, politician probably good at hiding his tracks. Does that mean he was targeted despite not being a criminal? Possibly, but I doubt it. Since a calling card had been left at the scene, this was unlikely to be a copycat crime. I mean, granted, they could just hate his policies. I mean, could absolutely... He's a criminal because he's gonna take our gurns! Oh my fucking god, get over yourselves. Just saying. People are stupid is all I'm saying, okay? And shady. We're all stupid and shady. Like, in some way, shape, or form. We all are. They did, except for Mochida. Mochida's just, like... the most wholesome fucking human being imaginable, and it's just... Look, okay? He just is.
They didn't release a video to the public, so I feel like something's different this time. SRCPO's about to get busy. Be ready.
Yes, sir. I'm actually really glad that through all the shit that we've been through, and, like, us knowing Shiraishi, and, like, everyone talking about us behind our back, Mochida's like, good to have you back! No, I believe in you, and, like, Sakuragawa and Mukai are, like, still our I'm just glad that our friends are our wholesome, wonderful friends, and they don't judge us, and not even like, I mean, you know, I'm sorry that I doubted you for a little while, which would be human. You know what I mean? It'd be absolutely human of you to be like, well, I mean, I always thought that Spacey was awesome, but then she was hanging out with Shiraishi, and like, should I question that? And then, like, having some doubt, it's okay. Like, that's a human reaction. To be like, I'm sorry I doubted you, but, you know, you were gone for a year, and it looks sus, man. You know? But nobody was like that at all. Like, they're all just fucking wonderful. Fucking Mochita's the most wonderful. I'm sorry. That man is just... He's like the most wholesome, wonderful fucking person in existence. We should all just fucking want to be like Mochita. Just wish we had a Mochita in our lives. I just love Mochita, okay? Like, I don't want to romance the man. I just love him. Like, it's not at all. You're like, no, not like, I'm not in love with you, Mochita. I just love you, and you are just so wholesome and wonderful and a little ray of sunshine that I just want to hold on to forever. Make life better. Just you existing makes life better. I don't know. Anyway. As Mochita predicted, reports about the incident came flooding in. The lines were ringing off the hook. I can only tell you that this is an active investigation. Yes, goodbye. I hung up the phone and remembered to breathe. Many of the calls had contained anxiety and frustration over a new X-Day incident. The scars left by the X-Day attack still haven't healed. If there were more victims after this, then chaos was sure to break out in the city. Kazuki's at school today, right? I glanced at my phone to see if he'd checked in. There was one missed call. Is it from Kazuki? The call was from an unfamiliar number. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. After letting Mochita know, I stepped out into an alley. Or hallway, I'm assuming, because we're in a hallway, not an alley. After checking that no one else was around, I played the voicemail. Hello, Spacey Hoshino. I wanted to kill you first, but a pest got in the way last night. Soon we will meet. The countdown to X-Day has just begun. Maybe it's Tachibana. That would actually be amazing. Like, because he just disappeared. It's like nothing happened. The message left no room for doubt that this was my stalker from yesterday. And he mentioned the countdown. That means he was responsible for the letter. I might be able to glean something new from this message. Just because there is an escapee, but that doesn't mean he's the one that was stalking us. He could be working, and it could be Tachibana. You'd think we'd recognize his voice, but it's been like 2 fucking years, so maybe not. With my phone in hand, I swiftly reported the call. It is a little hard in this game when they say 20XX, and then it's like April. Like, I mean, now it's just, April 9th. But like before it was December, and it's the next year. But in Shiraishi's route, it's like there was April, Hajime Morioka 40, Investigations Division HQ. I think I read that fast enough. I don't know. At this time of night, Mukai, Sasazuka, and Morioka were here with the rest of Investigation Section 1. The very best in headquarters were assembled in Shinjuku. I also spotted Okazaki among the crowd. Okay, no, anyway, so, it's kind of confusing because they don't give you a date, which I get, because if they were like 2014, and you'd be like, well, this is fucking old. So they leave it out there. It could be in the future, it could be the past, it could be current. You know what I mean? And so I like that. But at the same time, it's weird when you're in everyone else's route, okay, we're at the end of the year, and this happened in April, May, blah, blah, blah. And then now all of a sudden we're in the following year, April. You can do that. But like in Shiraishi's, you're like, wait, no. So like December was like a year after the accident. So it's been over a year. Because we were he had us in that bunker, taking care of us with our memory lapse for a year. So in every other route, it's April of the prior year, or directly after X-Day, and now it's a year plus. So it's really fucking baffling to kind of wrap your brain around that. It is for me without having dates, you know what I mean? Without being able to say, okay, so August, September of 2018 this was happening, and then 2019 is when we were doing our boyfriendo situations here, but now Shiraishi, it's 2020. April of 2020. It's fucking... anyway. Hey there, Spacey. Good work today. Hi, Okazaki. It's good to see you. During the previous string of incidents, I had crossed paths with Okazaki a number of times. Apparently, he had discovered rather early on that I was a police officer, because, he's fucking crazy, but he ain't stupid. Fucking weird, but not stupid. However, he hadn't pried into my situation, other than to be candid with me about his concerns, except for that time he put a gun to our head, but that was when we were romancing him, right? I gotta say, I was surprised to hear that I'd be protecting you again. I wasn't expecting that you'd be assigned to me either, Okazaki. I suppose situations like this don't come up often. The police had taken measures to counter the threat after the criminal had declared his intent to make contact with me. I hate to admit it, but I'm basically being used as bait. Although I was officially under guard, they were hoping to lure the criminal out into meeting me. Also, this must make you look even shadier. Like, all the people that know you are like, wow, this is inconvenient. But everyone else that, like, thinks that you're shady as fuck, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this bitch, oh my god, she's still working here? This must make, oh really? And now somebody escapes and now, oh, she gets a death threat? Bullshit! Like, this does not help our rep with the people who think down upon us. All I'm saying. I had been assigned an SP officer instead of normal detectives because they wanted to be extra sure that the suspect wouldn't escape. It showed how cautious the police were being of this criminal's skills. Also, I mean, Okazaki's pretty fucking good at his job. They know that we were acquainted when I was guarding Inagi's team. Probably figured I was the best man for the job due to my experience. I don't know how the criminal's going to act, so I was worried about handling this on my own. To be honest, I'm a little relieved to have you around. Well, they called you on your own phone. They also have knowledge of your patterns and areas of travel. It's likely they'll try to make contact. But I won't let them land a scratch on you. Still, it'd be easier to prepare if we had more intel. Did you submit your phone for analysis? Yes, I hope they find something. Because I was being directly targeted by Adonis, Command had ordered the task force to provide me with security detail. They're like, this is the second time. And like the first time, sure, Sayeki wanted to stick it to you and was like in love with you. Okay, I know he didn't really admit that kinda, sorta. But like, we know. We fucking know. It wasn't because, I think you'll sympathize. It's, I love you, Hoshino. I want you to be with me. But like, now he's dead, so like, the fuck now? They're like, Jesus Christ, you again? It's always this. Everyone in this game is fucking McGonagall looking at Harry, Ron, and Hermione. That's all of us, just us. It's always you! 3. But just, it's always you, isn't it? Always you! Like, Jesus Christ. Special. I mean, obviously, we're the MC, but still, it's kind of funny. However, I had no jurisdiction to pursue the case itself, so the most I could do was listen carefully to what people were saying. This poor chick. I hear that the investigation isn't making much progress at the moment. All of the captured Adonis agents have been silent after all. Because of that, there was hardly any information on the escapee, Shu Kurose. All we really have is a picture of him and his estimated age. The government was being fiercely criticized for its inability to prevent the jailbreak and a new X-Day attack. He has got hair! I'm sorry, but look at that picture. He's got hair like Chisato Tachibana. Do we not recognize him? We got his picture. You know what's really funny? I just realized. I'm just saying. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same person. Like he would come to us and admit his actual fucking name. Because then we go to the cops and be like, so this guy, Chisato Tachibana, came and like, blah, blah, blah. Which would also explain why in the epilogue when he was talking to Rei they didn't have his name. You know the shady person is supposed to be Tachibana. You know what I mean? But they acted like you didn't know. I'm just saying. And that picture, that hair looks the same. But we should be able to recognize him. I mean, it's been like a year, but still. The Metropolitan Police had been ordered to use any and all means to solve this case as quickly as possible. They're really pulling out all the stops. I wasn't happy to be bait, but allowing more people to become victims wasn't an option. I mean, I guess you could say it was an incident that happened. It was so brief. It was like one day. You were focused on all the X-Day stuff. And especially now, it's been like a year and a half at least, right? So, because when did we meet him? What? It was the end of the prior year. So it's been like a year and a half. So it's been at least a year and a half probably since she saw him. It was one day and it was a weird instance. You probably forgot all about it. But I'm surprised that they haven't. I think it's him because I don't know, that picture, the hair just looked the same. And it'll come out when it comes out. Oh my god, I didn't reckon. You'd think you'd see the picture and be like, I feel like I've seen him before. Maybe I saw him in passing, or you know what, I probably saw it on the news, and you don't think anything of it until that incident replays itself in your mind, then you're like, oh shit, that's where it is. But you know, like when you see a picture of someone, you're like, I feel like I've seen them before. Where have I seen them before? Do I know them from somewhere? It's like me at work when I run into people like, hey, hi, how are you? Like, hey, hi. And you're like, how the fuck do I know that person? Was it an elevator? And it takes me forever to figure it out. And then you're like, oh, I used to talk to them all the time a year ago. Like, well, I had a bad memory, okay? So, like, but you'd think it would have come up. I get why they didn't do it. Like, in reality, she'd be like, I feel like I've seen him before. But if they said that, you'd know and be like, it's Chisato Tachibana. That's what it is. And okay. They're going to bring it up later. Look, that's my prediction. If it's not him, I'd be shocked. But anyway. Because of course he'd come out and come after me. He is like, you killed Zero. I'm like, why is he obsessed with you? And he was obsessed with me, but also because Ray assigned him to be obsessed with me. I'm just saying, it kind of all starts to fit. But it'd also be weird if it was Tachibana, because then what if you played Shiraishi's route before and everybody else ignores Tachibana after the fact, but Shiraishi's doesn't? Alright, I don't know. Anyway. I wasn't happy to be bait, but allowing more people to become victims wasn't an option. I grew uneasy as I watched the detectives hurrying back and forth. I mean, it would make sense if it was, but it would also be weird if it was because of that. I'm still going with I think it might be, because that'd be kind of cool. Shiraishi voice now. Ever since the news of the prison break, the guards have been keeping a close eye on my every action. I felt the intensity of their surveillance. That said, I had no intention of adding to my long list of sins. He's like, I want to get out, but not that badly. So I paid them no mind and I continued living out my monotonous life. Even that passed quickly. I assumed that someone would be visiting me on behalf of the Superintendent General soon. It's about time. Perhaps they'd finally ask me to help them catch the escaped Adonis prisoner after failing to do it themselves. That was the deal we agreed on, though it's not as if I'm in a position to refuse. Speak of the devil, my expected guest had finally arrived. Ooh. Ah! It's Minagishi! I'm so excited. What I love Minagishi, okay? It's been a while. I don't remember his voice, but Seiji Minagishi, 33, Investigations Division 1, Police HQ. Are you here to ask me about the prison break yesterday? Yes, I'm glad you're quick to understand. I don't remember his voice. He just doesn't... Look, he doesn't get a specific voice, no matter how much I love him. He's not one of our boyfriendos. It's fine. First, tell me what the police know. Don't leave out any details. I won't be able to give you more than the most basic information. We're aware of that, and that's why we brought you some documents to review. Another officer brought a stack of papers into the room. Like, I mean, he's got, like, a desk. He's got some couches. Like, he's got a swanky fucking prison TV. I mean, this is swank. Like, Jesus. If I ever do anything wrong and I gotta get thrown in the slammer, I hope it's nice like this. I hope I never go to jail. But I'm just saying, his prison cell's pretty nice. I listened as Minagishi explained the situation. That's because he cut a deal, but... The part that had the strongest impact was the letter that had been delivered to Yanagi before the attack. It had demanded the release of Kageyuki Shiraishi, along with the threat to the people at the office. Her face came to mind as I heard the story. She's being followed, and they even called her phone. Hoshino was clearly a target. He's smart. He says, Hoshino was clearly a target, not Spacey, my love. And then Minagishi's like, what now? Nothing. I'll do everything in my power to help, so don't hide anything from me. All right. We still haven't forgotten the debt that we owe you both for helping us with the previous cases. We're going to make some exceptions in your treatment for this situation. So you're not going to whip him to get info? I'm sure it's more for the police's own protection than any sympathy for me. Is she safe? Okazaki of the SP is with her. I'm sure you're aware of his work ethic. There was certainly no other officer who would more loyally carry out the order to protect her. I've got the gist of the situation, but it's strange that they would demand my release to stop the countdown. As I've told you before, I was just a pawn. I didn't have any sway over the organization's decisions. We're also skeptical of their demands. Do they truly want you free as they say, or is this a ploy to silence a traitor? There are a number of valid possible angles at this point. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. So what next? The police obviously are going to give in to their demands.
Of course not. However, we also run the risk of allowing more damage to occur if we do nothing.
Enough beating around the bush. What do you want me to do?
Until now, we've kept you as an advisor, asking you for information on Adonis. However, this time we want you to cooperate in the investigation.
I'm not allowed to do that. The public will lose their minds if my name gets out.
Indeed. There are a great many exceptions in your case, and your non-disclosure is essential.
You can't go asking a criminal for help. That would bury you for sure.
I can, however, offer to put in a good word regarding your future treatment, depending on your performance.
I never asked for a reduced sentence, and I don't intend to.
Negotiations with you have been much more difficult than with the typical criminal.
They sent you to me because they expected that, didn't they?
Precisely. So, how about it? Will you help us? I think Shiraishi would absolutely, probably, I like the fact that he's like, I'm not asking for a reduced sentence. Everyone else absolutely would. He's like, I'm going to serve my time, because I deserve to serve my time. But at the same time, he's not going to refuse to help. Because, look, I did some bad things. I want to fix this. So I'm going to do whatever I can to help you. So of course he'd help. But also, my life's in danger. He's like, you're lucky I don't bitch slap you, run out of here, save her, and then turn myself back in. I'm just saying. Shiraishi would do it.
I had no interest in the length of my prison term.
I have interest in the length of your prison term, you son of a bitch. I'm lonely without you. Get out already.
However, this case directly involved Spacey. Even if Okazaki was protecting her, that wasn't a guarantee of her safety. The only way to be sure was to stop this at the source. She suffered so much to finally be free, but her life is in danger again. Plus, I'm involved this time. But one wrong move could put her at risk. I recalled Spacey's words to me the last time I'd seen her. She'd said that she would be waiting. She had told me, of all people, that she loved me, and that I was special to her. I'll do it. For her.
Thank you. First, I'd like you to do your profiling and help us figure out the ringleader's true intentions. We've gathered everything you should need for your analysis. Please use this phone to notify us if you learn anything. He's like, you gave me a phone! Can I have Spacey's number and call her?
When I accepted the phone, he turned to leave.
It goes without saying, but I should note that everything you send via that phone is being recorded and sent to HQ. So don't try anything stupid.
I can't contact my girlfriend and tell her I love her. I wouldn't do that. The police had a hold of my weakness. I knew that they'd use her against me if they saw fit to do so.
Thank you for your time.
After Minagishi left the room, I pored over the documents they provided. I guess I have to do this.
I mean, yeah. Do you want me to die or what? I mean, Jesus, should come on.
There was a mountain of papers to read through. Even skimming them would take a long time. The return of the X-Day incidents, huh? I'm even acquainted with the suspect. I come across Togo, the victim, long ago during an old case. I'd forgotten his name, but the case files reminded me of who he was. They're after people related to me and demanding my release.
So, he dealt with a case that involved Togo, so we're gonna kill Togo. It's not like he's your grandfather or your uncle or something, or we were pals. I worked on a case that, involved hit, and now you're gonna... That's all gonna be... You're gonna be killing a lot of fucking rando people.
Clearly this was intended not to help me, but to serve some other ends. I hesitated, then picked up the phone on the table.
They're trying to torture you. I don't think they want your release. I kind of feel like Minagishi's right. They want to take out the traitor, basically, But if it is Tachibana, right? He was... We know he was working with Rei, right? He also thinks it's like, where the fuck is Zero so obsessed with this girl? And he was a pawn too. So you'd think, wait, you're a pawn. I could kind of see it if I were Tachibana, right? If that's who it is. But I could see it being him because I could see it from his perspective. You were raised as a pawn. You do everything for Adonis. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I follow the leader. I do not do anything. I'm not a human. I'm just, a puppet, basically. And then that's what Shiraishi is. Oh, but wait. He's not a puppet. Now he's telling everybody about us. He's the reason. Is Mikuni dead? Did he die? I don't remember. But, you'd be blaming Shiraishi for, even though we're the ones who killed him, be like, but Shiraishi was the one who turned everyone in and did all this stuff and caused all this, and then, wait a minute, why do you get to be a human and I'm just a puppet? It'd be also Tachibana's, completely fucking unbalanced, right? Could be other reasons, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna kill everyone that's related to you until they release you, and then I'm gonna kill you because why do you get to be a human? People in Adonis are unhinged, okay? Anyway.
I hesitated, then picked up the phone on the table. He was a cautious man, so I wasn't sure if he would answer.
Hello?
Yanagi picked up the phone. Hey, Yanagi, it's me. Can you tell?
Shiraishi?
Yeah, I'm helping out with the investigation right now. How's the Black Cat doing? I'm always worried about her.
He looks so sad, aw.
I'm sure you're looking after her, but I just can't rest easy without seeing her face.
I know how you feel. Let me talk first.
All right. I was slightly embarrassed that my anxiety had gotten the better of me. Yanagi described her status to me in a calm tone. He must have realized we were being recorded, because he stuck to using the pseudonym. I'm glad she's feeling well enough to eat donuts. I should be thankful that Enomoto's such an airhead.
Don't say that. He's worried about you too.
I know. I remember that he sent me some books before. His tastes are very particular. Only Enomoto would have sent me a mix of history books and the Heartthrob series that he loved so much.
We've been looking into it on our end too, but there isn't much about the suspect. And there isn't any eyewitness information for the crime scene or the area around this office.
We're dealing with an experienced operative. I might have run into him before, but I don't really remember him since I didn't recognize him as a fellow doll.
Do you think they're really aiming for the rebirth of Japan? That they're aiming to start a revolution?
The attack took the style of the X-Day incidents, but I think their goal lies elsewhere.
What are you basing that on?
Let's not rush to conclusions. I'm still at the deduction stage. I need more information.
You really haven't changed despite all the letters you write.
Isn't it a little late to realize that?
I suppose, but I think I'm relieved.
You're so mellow now, Yanagi. I don't see you for a few months and you've turned into an old man.
Hey, what's your tongue?
Oh, now you're grumpy. Did that make you mad?
Are you enjoying yourself?
I haven't gotten to talk to anyone like this in a while, so I couldn't help it. Anyway, we shouldn't spend too much time talking.
I'll keep looking out for the Black Cat. Don't worry.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to do whatever I can, too. The call ended and I turned to the documents regarding the escapee. His name was Shu Kurose. His file had info about his physical traits, his photo, his speech patterns, and even his voice. But I didn't recall him. How do you...
do you describe someone's voice as, high-pitched and annoying, or, just obnoxious? I'm just curious, because I'm curious as to what the description of a voice would be that you're like, oh yeah, I've heard that voice before.
We were all on top-secret missions, so there wasn't time to make friends. Some agents even changed their appearance and personality between each assignment.
He would recognize Tachibana 100%, so maybe it's not. But I'm just saying, do you see the hair in that? It looks way too similar, but Shiraishi would recognize him from seeing him that one time. In the prologue, he'd be like, wait, that's that dude. Shiraishi wouldn't forget. We might forget after a year and a half. Shiraishi would be like,
I remember exactly when I saw this motherfucker. We were trained to infiltrate and replace other people on a frequent basis. I'd never be able to recall every agent that I'd come into contact with. There's a lot here that doesn't make sense, though. As I mused over the Kurosei documents, my mind wandered.
Kudose. Kind of mumbled that.
It's hard to say Kudose in his accent.
Like, it just really is.
No clues, huh? They probably saw this coming.
Yeah. The police ran a trace on the source of the number that had called me earlier. However, it belonged to a female high school student who had apparently misplaced her phone when she ate at a fast food restaurant. An employee had discovered the phone and returned it to its owner, but its call history had been erased. The data had been restored, and it was determined that the criminal had used the phone to call me. But the high schooler was unrelated, and no fingerprints had been lifted from the phone. Stealing a phone. I mean, to make a creepy phone call. Legit. Not a bad idea. Okay, stealing someone's phone and making creepy calls is a bad idea, but if you're gonna make creepy calls, you might as well steal someone's phone and do it to cover your ass. Officers had been deployed near Yanagi's office in anticipation of an attack. I walked through the heavy security up the stairs to the office. Good evening. You're here. There's big news today. Big news? Enomoto seemed excited. Yanagi was behind him, smiling. Shiraishi called earlier. What? I'd heard from Morioka that Shiraishi was assisting in the investigation, but I didn't know that he was allowed to use a phone. But he didn't call me? I know that it's tough in this situation, but I wish I could hear his voice. My emotions must have shown on my face. And given Shiraishi's situation, everything he says is being recorded, I'm sure. He kept asking about the black cat. The news made me feel warm and fuzzy. This is just adorable that all of our friends are, like, in our corner and, like, here for us while our boyfriend's in prison and we're not allowed to admit that he's our boyfriend. Like, this is, like, gotta be the most stressful fucking situation, and our friends are fucking amazing. You're the black cat, right? Yes. It's not a good idea to use my name, so... I see. Shiraishi must be trying to protect you if he's going through that much trouble. I wish he would spare a thought for himself, too. He's insensitive enough to do that, and the part of him that blurts out whatever he's thinking hasn't changed a bit. He even complained about the books I sent him. That hurts, you know. I handpicked those books myself. Right. I'd heard that Enomoto had sent him some books to read before. He did say in a letter that they helped him pass the time. I don't know if that's a compliment. Well, for Shiraishi it might be. Well, I guess it would be pretty scary if he was all grateful. I'm glad to hear he's in good spirits, at least. I felt uneasy, knowing that both of our lives were likely in danger. Shiraishi would be doing his best to help solve this case. I felt connected to him, even though he couldn't be here with me. Shiraishi's still trying to profile the suspect. He'll let us know if he learns anything. And he claimed to be with Adonis, but they shouldn't have enough manpower left to act as a group. Even if they managed to scrape together the remnants and restart the organization, they wouldn't be able to escape notice. So we're dealing with a lone actor or a small number of people at worst. Also, the dead politician didn't have any shady dealings in his past. That makes this different from the other X-Day cases. My god, he wasn't shady? Shocking! That's the most shocking part. Yeah, they're trying to make it look like an X-Day attack, but Shiraishi said that they probably have some other goal in mind. My neck hurts. A different goal. If they caused an X-Day incident to compel the police to set Shiraishi free, that would make sense. It isn't unusual for a terror group to demand the release of their members, but they had announced themselves by contacting this office and me in advance. It was likely that we were also being targeted, in addition to whatever the other objective was. If the criminal is targeting us, maybe we can use me as bait to lure him out. What are you talking about? I won't allow that. I know the risks. I don't really think we have the luxury of being picky about other methods if we want this taken care of quickly. On top of that, Command assigned you to me to begin with because they thought he might come for me directly. Even if we know what he might do, that doesn't mean we should deliberately dangle you in harm's way. I'm just here as a last line of defense. For now, maybe. Before long, though, Command is going to take action. When that happens... They might officially order you to become bait. Enomoto scowled as if he didn't want to believe it. Ever since I came back to work, I've been nervous that I might end up in danger again. But if I run away now, it'd be a denial of the person that I've worked so hard to become. I returned to the police because I realized that my resolve hadn't changed ever since the first time I picked up a badge and gun. I couldn't
couldn't deny that something totally unexpected might happen, which could change my life for the worst. I was only human. It was normal to be afraid. However, I couldn't stand idly by while innocent people got hurt. That was true during the X-Day attacks, and it was still true now. I'm doing this because I want to, not because I've been ordered to.
And Shiraishi said pretty much the same thing.
Oh.
Look, I get how you feel, really. You're like a samurai who's honor-bound to sacrifice her own life.
Yeah, even if he feels similarly to you. Shiraishi is obviously going to be sad if anything happens to you. When I had been poisoned and almost died, Shiraishi had been in tears. I didn't want him to see him. I didn't want to see him like that again.
Well, you won't have to, because he's in prison and we don't get to see him. Fuck you, game. Look, that's the game rubbing in our face. I don't want to see him cry again. You won't have to, he's in prison. Why? Why would you point that out? This game is mean to me.
Anyway, why don't we decide what we do after we hear back from Shiraishi? If we can narrow down the enemy's plans, then that should give us a few more options.
All right. Okazaki was right. I took a few breaths to stave off the uneasiness. Yanagi treated us to a home-cooked dinner. It helped distract me from the gloomy mood. Yanagi's beef stew was delicious.
Yeah, I want to say it tastes like a mother's cooking, but he probably wouldn't like that.
I wish you had, though. I just want every one of them to antagonize fucking Yanagi. Poor fucking Yanagi.
Making small talk as we walked, we eventually arrived at my apartment. There were other police officers keeping an eye on the area, as well as protecting Kazuki. It said the person who had left the letter had managed to slip into Yanagi's office without leaving a trace of their entry.
We weren't completely safe. It'd actually be funny if they put Yoshinari to protect Kazuki, because they're kind of buddies. Like, right? They're like pals. So, like, Yoshinari's like, hey, I'm protecting Kazuki, and he's like, you know, he's the least offensive person.
I was planning on keeping watch outside, but I think I should stay inside with you. It'll let me respond more quickly if anything happens.
Okay. It was better to be safe than sorry. I would absolutely be like, thank you, Jesus. Like, I was planning on staying outside. Don't you fucking dare. But I think I should be inside. Oh, thank God. I gave Okazaki the go-ahead, and he stepped into my home. Yeah, I'd be like, no way, fucking Okazaki, you're sleeping on the couch. Okay, look, I know I'm dating Shiraishi, but you are going to sleep on the couch, and I know I sleep on the couch. I'm going to wrap myself around you and use you as a body shield. Just in case it's fine, Shiraishi will understand. It's not romantic, it's terror. What the? Hey, Kazuki! I heard they were sending cops to protect us, but do they have to come inside, too? Yeah, sorry. I guess I should be used to this by now. When Adonis had come to try and recruit me, I had asked Yanagi's team to protect Kazuki. I'd heard that when I'd lost my memory and Shiraishi had been looking after me, Kazuki had been worried sick. Perhaps that was why he'd seemed more open with me ever since I returned.
I'll be right behind your big sister whenever she goes.
Or wherever she goes, sorry.
Don't worry.
Right behind her? Maybe we should ask for a female officer instead. Okazaki grinned as Kazuki eyed him suspiciously. I feel physically safer, but this could present a different kind of problem. To pacify Kazuki, Okazaki agreed to stand guard at a fixed position in the room. Although it was a little unnerving to have an outsider in her home, Okazaki was experienced at keeping a low profile. Also, it's Okazaki! Like, he is a fucking weirdo, and he's a little crazy, and aside from he might try to poison us with weird food, he's basically harmless. We trust him. Before long, night had fallen, and all was quiet as usual. The fatigue of the day finally caught up to me, and I lied down to get some shut-eye. 4:11, 6:13 a.m. Woo! We survived the night. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm clock went off. Okazaki was already awake. He probably didn't sleep at all.
Good morning. You kept me up all night, even if it was for work.
Okazaki, please stop saying things that people can misunderstand. I was like, you kept me up all night. I'm like, the phrasing on that. Even if it was for work, I'm like, he full well knew what he was motherfucking saying. Yes, he did.
Sorry. I bet Shiraishi would be mad if he found out about this. I don't think I've ever seen him upset.
Then please do your best not to make him feel that way.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, what's for breakfast?
Give me a moment. I'll make it now. Okazaki's grin was already making me feel exhausted.
I headed to the kitchen.
As soon as I arrived at the police station, the meeting began. I'm sorry. I yawned. The prison escapee and primary suspect in the Togo murder is Shu Kurose, approximately age 27. He is a former agent of the criminal group Adonis, occupation next of kin and residence unknown. I want you all to look into anyone who might be tied to Kurose's past. I don't know why, I have to pause and say it. It doesn't flow off the tongue naturally. Past and location, and get me this information as quickly as possible. We've also called an advisor here today to help us plan our next move. Is it Shiraishi? When he's like, we've called an advisor here, I was like, but he's on TV, isn't he? He's not actually here. That's what the lines are. Shiraishi! I felt my heartbeat quicken. It had been so long since I'd seen his face. It was displayed on a monitor, but I could see that he hadn't changed. I can see his face and hear his voice. Even just this makes me so... Although I had heard updates on Shiraishi's condition, seeing him with my own eyes lifted my spirits. I'd be like, like, I want to cry and I'm not even dating him. So excited. This one is so heartbreaking, I hate it. Are we really asking this guy for help? He's probably trying to make a deal to lighten his sentence. I could hear dubious murmurs in the room. There were naturally people who didn't agree with seeking Shiraishi's assistance. I understood that, but it still hurt. Yeah, I mean, like, that sucks because it's like... You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't have been able to keep it quiet, so then it's like, when he gets out, like, what are you going to do? It's like, are you going to have to just pretend you're... Oh my god, this hurts! The implications of him going to jail and, like, everybody doubting him, and then they're doubting you, and that's why he used to pretend that we're just friends, we're not dating, because then whatever, and then you get your job back, but then what happens when he gets out? Then it's like, what do we do? Just move far, far away where no one knows his name and we change our names? Like, what do we do? Sure, pack it up and move to America, I guess. Nobody here gives a shit.
Let me begin by stating I'll be completely honest with you during this meeting. I know that many of you can't trust me, but please have faith in the people who asked for my help. We all want the same thing, which is to see this case resolved as soon as possible.
Silence fell over the bustling conference room. Everyone watched Shiraishi on the display with nervously drawn expressions. He continued.
First, we can presume that the prison break, warning message, and Togo's murder were all committed by the same person. Although we can't rule out the possibility of someone helping him from within the police, he's probably the ringleader. These various events are undoubtedly linked to him. The circumstantial evidence, such as the planting of the letter and the coin, are well known. Of particular note is the timing of these events. Circumstantial evidence. This refers to evidence that's not physical evidence or evidence that directly proves the criminal act. When there aren't witness testimonies or fingerprint matches or DNA, things like plausible motive, situations, and human relations are often used as evidence to attempt to build a case.
I'm upset that you're not acquainted with Kurose, and that Adonis agents don't interact with each other.
Correct. You may not believe me, but we were all cogs in a larger system. We were trained not to think of each other as individuals. The feelings of camaraderie among operatives could lead to emotions that cause us to defy orders.
Oh, caused us to defy orders after all. Sorry, I had to take a breath and then I thought a pause there, but it wasn't going to work. Anyway.
Defy orders after all.
Anyway.
The only emotion we were allowed to feel was respect and obedience toward our superiors.
Shiraishi's demeanor didn't waver, even in front of Morioka. He was the same man that I'd always known. I think I know how Yanagi feels now. While I felt relieved, now was the time to focus on the case. I cleared my mind and focused my attention on Shiraishi's briefing. You know that he sees you at some point, like everyone's talking, like there's obviously a camera, he might be able to see the room and he knows that you're there and it's just, you're seeing him and you're like, I'm trying to focus, but I can't breathe because I love you. And he's like, I'm just talking, but I'm dying inside seeing your face. I love it. It hurts so much. I love it, but I hate it. I hate it because it shouldn't exist this way, but I love it because they're making me hurt so badly. That's good. Oh, God.
We were raised to act as the arms and legs of the organization. We won't act without orders from above. This suggests that if the prison break and Togo's murder are related, Someone ordered them to happen.
Well, we've already captured most of the Adonis leadership, and Rei Mikuni and Zero, or rather, Yuzuru Saeki, are no longer around. Okay, so Mikuni's dead. It's possible that they could have issued such orders before their capture or deaths. To be clear, can any Adonis remnants that are left spur Kurose to act?
None that I know of. I've been taught a lot of the leadership. Very few people have the authority to issue orders. The remaining members are just the rank and file.
I see. What sort of orders do you think he's acting under, then?
To answer that, we first need to ascertain Kurose's objectives. First, the criminal requested my release. However, he should already know that I'm not in a particularly important position. Why did he mention me by name, then?
The criminal asked for Shiraishi, not just any agent. Shiraishi was important. He's trying to help his comrade. Because he wanted to help his comrade? In that case, Kurose could have asked for anyone else, or for multiple people to be released. Furthermore, Shiraishi had already said that there wasn't a culture of camaraderie among the agents. That's what the guide said, look, okay? If he specifically wanted Shiraishi, then there had to be a reason.
The most likely reason is that they desire retribution because I've betrayed Adonis.
Or, you just really don't remember, and it's fucking Tachibana, and he's pissed at you because you got in his way with me. You worked for Adonis, and blah, 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 and, like, you betrayed them, but you also got in my way of, like, poking her and trying to figure out why Zero's in love with her. Like, I'm just saying. One-track mind obsession over there. Retribution. Shiraishi spoke as if it didn't concern him, even though his life was on the line. Even if they aren't friends, they still shared the same upbringing and mission. Shiraishi had once said that the people who raised him had been very strict and didn't allow any freedom. He was only allowed to live in Adonis's cage. See? Adonis is the one who put... Oh my god, Saeki's the cage boy. Okay, look. Unagi had his moment where he was, like, threatening to put us in a cage, but Saeki's the one that actually put Shiraishi in a cage. Well, that's weird. Man, I wanted to be the one to put our love interest in a cage at one point in time in some game. I'm just saying, I seriously want that. Look. Every time I play more of these games and I get more and more ideas for games that should exist, like our Pirate Otome. Hello, it'd be fucking amazing. I also just want to be the one, instead of the men treating me like shit, I'm gonna verbally and emotionally abuse you. I'm gonna put you in a cage. Bitch, I want to put them in a cage. I want to torture these motherfuckers. Where's that? You go in the cage. I'm just gonna be like a psychopath too. Come on. We're always a goddamn happy-go-lucky little doormat. Okay. I want to be a vile, nasty bitch. I think it'd be fun. Oh, you're the happy-go-lucky boy. You're so innocent and naive, and I'm going to put you in a cage for your own good. I'm just saying. It'd be kind of fucking twisted and fucked up and amazing. Anyway, so technically we got our love interest in a cage, but Adonis is the one that put him there. So basically, Saeki. He was only allowed to live in Adonis's cage. Zero had also spoken of his pawn in the same way. He said that Shiraishi had survived an unforgiving environment. I thought he was finally free from the curse of Adonis, but it still isn't over. Shiraishi might have taken it in stride, but it pained me. What are your thoughts on the fact that the victim was someone you knew? From the records you've given me, there's no evidence that he was the sort of evil person that Adonis passed judgment on. If the motive wasn't to judge the victim, then it would have to be... He was a politician. He knew Shiraishi. He might be trying to kill anyone who was related to Shiraishi, which led me to consider the number 9 in the countdown. And the murderer might seem to have childish aims, but I'd say that he killed someone I knew as retribution against me. I'd presume that each stage of the countdown will result in the death of someone who is a connection to me. If that's his motive, then it makes sense why he didn't send his warning to the police. The criminal had delivered the letter to Yanagi's office because we're tied to Shiraishi. Yeah, okay. He was imitating Zero. No, I was like, okay. But wait, so he killed the... You have Yanagi, and there's Enomoto, and there's me, and there's Okazaki, and there's Sasazuka. Well, that's 5. Oh my god. Omokai! No, don't you touch her! We were all connected to the previous X-Day cases.
Perhaps the criminal targeted us because we were well acquainted with Shiraishi. Kurose broke out of prison to achieve the rebirth of Adonis, acting on unknown orders. However, a traitor such as myself would pose a great obstacle to that goal, so he has to eliminate me. And that's why he made a new X-Day incident, killing someone that I know.
So, this is what? Infighting? Guess a cult would try to purge its traitors. Is it killing people Shiraishi knows to try and lure Shiraishi out?
Oh, they're going to have an even worse they're going to have an even worse opinion of Shiraishi now. To begin with, the police had been the ones who detained Shiraishi and made him cooperate. They should know better. Adonis probably viewed him as an enemy for helping the police. I mean, Shiraishi is...
Wait a minute. Just pause for a second. Here's me like going on, well, Bob, wait a minute, whoa, back it up, Spacey. Like, the police are the one who forced him to help them. Are you literally saying, like, he shouldn't have helped them, we should have run away? Really? I don't think that would have flown. That would not fly in your brain. You'd have been like, no, you have to atone for your crimes. But, like, there's a little part of her that's like, bitch, we should have run the fuck away and, like, been like, fuck this place, and pieced out. Changed our names, identities, everything. It's just the weirdest statement coming from her. I don't know. Yeah. How can any officer dismiss this as a mere internal spat? I clenched my fist in anger. I mean, I just love it. She's so defensive of him that she's like, you're the ones who made him do this. And they're like, would you? Yeah, I would have run away. Secret. Okay, never mind.
That's right. I am the source of all this trouble. Shiraishi looked straight into the camera as he declared that. If my hypotheses are correct, then more people connected to me are likely going to die. Even if I let Kurose kill me, it'd only be a step forward in his plan to revive Adonis. And this won't end with my death. There'll be many other casualties. So how should we stop that from happening? The answer is simple. We nip it in the bud.
Don't you think we know that? That's why we're having this meeting in the first place!
One of the detectives started shouting. As the room glared at him, Shiraishi offered up a quiet suggestion. You can use me. However, it should be a meaningful sacrifice. We don't need any other victims, especially if they're people who are going to get hurt because of me.
They're not going to let him die. I'm like, I know my brain is like, fuck you, you're not going to let him die. He's not going to die. Maybe in a bad ending. He's not going to die. Well, actually, no. He couldn't. Well, the bad ending would be probably back in the prologue, where we'd probably die or whatever. It's not even in the normal ending. They're not going to let him die because, hello, that would be completely bullshit. Here's our ending of our boyfriend died. Like, a good or normal ending will be, like, happy. Plus, I'm sorry, Yanagi got a wedding. The other ones got proposals. We didn't get weddings. So this is like, I'm just expecting a second fan disc, third game. Third game where we actually get our weddings, and you can't be like, well, you get it for everybody except for, Shiraishi, because he died in the second one. Like, go fuck yourselves, how dare you. He wouldn't do that. So he's not gonna die. Unless everyone thinks he's dead, and he's like, haha, I really just faked my death. And he comes back as, with oh my god, are you gonna, cut your hair or something? Comes back with a makeover or some shit. Like, this is my boyfriend, Ted. That would be interesting. But anyway.
We don't need any other victims, especially if they're people who are going to get hurt because of me. The room fell silent. Shiraishi's eyes, words, and feelings felt completely sincere.
No, it saves me the trouble of asking you then. We'll take you up on that offer.
No! I suddenly jumped out of my seat and locked eyes with Sasazuka. Sasazuka acted the same as always. He met my gaze with a cold stare. What was the right move here? What was Shiraishi trying to protect? I trembled with indignant outrage. If I get emotional here, then I'll lose access to the case. I can't let my emotions get the better of me right now. I like the fact that she's like, I jumped up outrage, and she just looks at Sasazuka, and Sasazuka's just looking at her like, just same Sasazuka face. It's not even blinking, and she's like, he's right, I should. She's totally feeding that off of him. I can't let my emotions get the better of me. He's like, damn right you can't. He didn't have to say anything. If we're going to use me as a decoy, then we need more intel. You've only given me material directly tied to this case. I need whatever you recovered from the Adonis base, including files on the captured members.
We've already looked through them. Nothing stood out to us, but very well.
You must be trying to learn more about Kurose. The police were trying to find...
Wait. The police were trying to find, but I'd heard that they weren't making good progress, and that they'd been running into various traps. The police were trying to find... What? We're missing something there. But I'd heard that they weren't making good progress, and that they'd been running into various traps. It was clear that they were dealing with a very competent adversary. If he's faithfully following orders, then that means he'll try to kill Shiraishi at any cost. But Shiraishi was in police custody. It wouldn't be easy to get to him. But if he's trying to make Shiraishi vulnerable... Bad news, everyone! A detective came running into the room. Morioka looked at him sharply. A new X-Day attack. There's a report that Eriko Mukai in forensics was just attacked. You did not fucking... Me, I jump up. Hello, you fucking didn't! She better be okay! Mukai?
Did you say Mukai? Is she safe?
Yes, she managed to fight off her attacker and only suffered minor injuries. Because Mukai is one tough motherfucker.
Thank goodness.
Shiraishi seemed relieved on the monitor. He had said before that he was indifferent to other people, but perhaps he did care for the people he worked with, such as Mukai. Who would not love Mukai? She's the fucking best. Okay, look, Sakuragawa was also the best. Look, our side characters are all the best in this game, but Sakuragawa and Mukai are our friends, and we love them. And I love Mukai just a little bit. We're still looking over the scene, but we think it's likely that another coin might have been left there, as with the other X-Day attacks. Mukai's connected to Shiraishi. Good grief! I can't believe he targeted me to draw out the chief! What a disgrace of a man! Mukai! Although she'd just been attacked, Mukai cut a dashing figure. She walked up to Morioka. I fucking love her so much. Mukai... Superintendent Morioka, I have something urgent to report. She looked resolute. You said a man. Did you get a look at the suspect's face? Yes, he was Shu Kurose, the prison escapee. He really is trying to draw out Shiraishi. Morioka listened to Mukai's report, and seemed to reach a conclusion. I understand that you were targeted because of your connection to Shiraishi. But Kurose is a trained Adonis operative. It's hard to believe that he'd allow one of his targets to live. Indeed. However, he probably didn't expect me to have this. Mukai showed Morioka a device that fit in the palm of her hand. Is it a fucking taser? I heard that you fought off your attacker. Is that what you used? Yes. It temporarily disrupts human brainwaves. It can cause someone to collapse on the spot. It was initially my plan to use this on a man that I saw fitting to be my husband and drag him to my cave where he couldn't escape. I have a cage that I would lock him in, but unfortunately I had to use it on that motherfucker first. It's nice to know it works. Fucking love Luke. Look, I know I just made that up, but you can just... You're like, yeah, no, I could... However, when I used it on Kurose, he seemed to be in pain. I see. I didn't think a conventional self-defense tool would work on him. But if it affects brainwaves, and that's a different story. We brainwashed during our training, so brainwave attacks would be effective. Oh my, Chief! You're here. Please, I know you were ignoring me. The superintendent and I are having an important conversation. Please stop distracting us. I'm just providing Kurose's perspective. As flippant as ever, I see. You really know how to push my buttons. They traded verbal barbs, ignoring everyone around them. This is why, if we weren't in love with Shiraishi, I 100% fucking would hook them up, because the way they just argue with each other is just amazing. On one hand, I really want to see Mukai, like, just abusing the shit out of Enomoto in a relationship, because I think that'd be funny. But on the other hand, I also want to see Mukai and Shiraishi. Can we just be Mukai? Can we just fucking be her and, like, have Shiraishi as a potential and Enomoto, because I could see them. Not only, and just, like, pick some other guys. Oh my god, fucking Morioka. Yes. Oh my god. She would manhandle that man. Okay, I want a spin-off game and I want to be Mukai. That's it. It could be short. It could just be short little, like, side stories like this where they're only, like, 4 chapters, a few hours worth of play, but then we could also be Sakuragawa, because that'd be fucking amazing, too. I just want to see how they would handle things. I just need that. And you know you want it, too, now. I noticed that Morioka's frown was gradually deepening. Shiraishi, Mukai, focus! Sorry, sir. Mukai clammed up, contrite. However,
So, did you notice anything else? Surely that's not the only reason you're here.
Shiraishi simply poured more oil onto the fire. Do you truly think me so incompetent? I haven't gotten to the most important part. Death to the traitor! I will inherit the will of Adonis. Kurose muttered that as he attacked. He's clearly responsible for the string of incidents following his escape. If he's going after people related to the chief, does that mean he's trying to personally punish the chief?
We were just discussing that earlier. But I'm certain now. Kurose wants me to die.
I suppose these other attacks are a form of psychological warfare against you.
Does he really think I'd be shaken by that?
Chief, you're not the man you used to be. Mukai adjusted her glasses, avoiding Shiraishi's gaze.
I see. And there's still a lot we don't know, but I'm glad you weren't killed.
Did I just hear that? I must be hallucinating.
It's not a hallucination. I have high expectations of you, Mukai.
Expectations? Please don't say that, Chief. I like how she still calls him Chief, even though, like, you don't work for him anymore, but he's always Chief. I love it. What if I actually died in my struggle with Kurose? Seriously, am I dreaming?
I'm not sure what you're so worked up about. Did he hit your head?
Of course not! I've gotten used to talking to normal people, and you're... What? And I'm not used to dealing with your glib banter anymore. It's throwing me off.
And that wasn't my intention. Anyway, we've gained a more solid insight into Kurose's motives.
Kurose's motives. I can't say it when I'm talking like Shiraishi. I just can't. I can't say Kurose in fucking Shiraishi's voice. I don't know what it is, but anyway. That's right. I'm also more confident that you'll be of more use to us in the next operation. I looked up at Shiraishi's face, anxious.
Use me if you wish. However, I don't plan to throw my life away. I have a reason to live now.
Shiraishi looked out over the assembled crowd. I couldn't speak to him, but I felt like he was looking at me.
Chief, before you would have said something like, I'm looking forward to seeing how the criminal will attack. I notice that you're still calling me Chief.
I'm just too lazy to find a new way to address you.
Hey, tell me some more about your interaction with Kurose. Do you mind coming down here to visit me?
Huh? Shiraishi, that's not your call to make.
I need to know more about Kurose. Mukai may be acting composed in front of you, but she's rather shaken right now.
What did you say? Shiraishi! Just when I thought their verbal sparring had finally finished, Shiraishi provoked Mukai into a second round.
You've only told me your general impressions of him so far. Knowing you, you must have been desperate to let us know right away. What have I told you before about reading people rather than things?
The true nature of a person appears meaningless at first glance.
Correct. Your memory of the incident is highly valuable. I'll help tease out the important details. I need you to remember everything you can about Kurose, even if it hurts. Or have you forgotten it already because of the trauma?
Of course I haven't! I'm coming down right now, so don't you say another word! No, Mukai.
If Mukai's that intent on helping me, then I think we can learn a few more things about Kurose. Oh, also, send me footage of the attack if you have it. Pretty please.
We will, but you need to remember the position you're in. Morioka put his forehead in his hand. He seemed tired. Shiraishi grinned. Shiraishi just fucking exhausts everyone.
Morioka, you must be thinking they're not very cooperative. But actually...
Enough. I'm hanging up. Quiet fell over Investigations HQ as if a storm had passed. Before we knew it, we were all moving along to Shiraishi's own pace. Words are making weird. He's such a free spirit. I now had a better understanding of why he was considered such a talented, if troublesome, profiler.
The detective steadily filed out of the office, returning to police HQ to follow up on the investigation and manhunt for Kurose. Sasuzuka and cybercrimes also continued to scour the internet for clues. Oh, we should have stopped. Whoops. Shh. Whoops. Yes. Okay. I backed it up. We're gonna stop there. I backed it up a few. We'll stop here. Everyone's filing out, and now we're transitioning because I don't know how long talking to Okazaki. It could be like 2 minutes. It could be like 10, but we're already 5 minutes over time because I got so distracted with Mukai and fucking Shiraishi, and I love it so much that I didn't even notice the time until just now. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.